When the guy who was seeing my wife sent me a picture of his young son late one night to mess with me, he had no idea she was already dead. He also didn't know that my wife, now named Teresa, had started a fire at our house just the day before she called me in a total rage. "I told you! For us, it's going to be widowhood, not divorce, Owen!" she'd screamed at me. "If you insist on leaving me, then we're going down together." I looked at the black and white photo of Teresa that I held in my hand. I quietly figured out all the money and stuff she'd left behind, and then I calmly blocked her little boyfriend's number. We'd been together for 15 years, through all the good and bad times. In the end, our relationship resulted in one of us dead and the other just hurt. But the good thing was that she was the one who died. I just had a broken heart. After coming back from a work trip overseas, I went to my first big industry party of the year. The place was packed and buzzing. It took me a minute to get used to being back in the swing of things. Mr. Davidson and my best friend Marcus saw me and walked over. "Owen, we've been waiting a whole year for you to come back for good. How was your time away?" they asked. "Not bad," I replied, smiling as I greeted them. "I brought you guys some presents. They're still at the airport, but I'll have them dropped off soon." Marcus leaned in with a playful look. "Owen, you're playing it pretty cool today. Teresa's company is huge now. You could be a little more flashy, you know." Mr. Davidson jumped in. "Owen, why aren't you wearing that watch Teresa bought at the auction a while back? That thing has an amazing clockwork inside. She got it at a special Only Love sale for over $10 million. It was made by the same famous watchmaker who created Marie Antoinette's pocket watch. You really should have brought it so we could all see it." The more they talked, the more confused I felt. "What watch?" Mr. Davidson covered his mouth and chuckled. "Oh, come on, Owen. Everyone in New York knows Teresa bought that watch for you. Don't be shy. It's all about showing off your success these days." The more I listened, the more something felt wrong. "I genuinely don't know anything about a watch," I insisted. Mr. Davidson had been joking, but when he heard me say it again, his smile slowly disappeared. "That can't be right. You've been back from Toronto for 2 days, and Teresa hasn't been away on business. With something that valuable, how could she not give it to you right away?" "Maybe she just got busy and forgot," Marcus suggested. "Owen, why don't you go home and just mention it to her?" Just then, a strikingly handsome young man walked past us. He was wearing an eye-catching designer suit that everyone immediately looked at. It was made of velvet, and the way it was tailored made him look tall and perfectly put together. The back of the jacket had a complex, embroidered design, a bright red color that seemed to show both rebellion and class. "Wow, he's really good looking. I've never seen him around the NYC social scene before. Do you think that could be Mr. Sterling's nephew who just finished studying in Paris?" "No, Sterling's nephew is older than that, not that young." A few other familiar people came over to join our conversation. Could he be some wealthy CEO's toy boy? "No way," Mr. Davidson said after a moment. "Do you know what this event is? It's the annual industry gala. You need special permission to get in. Someone like that wouldn't make it past the door." The group started arguing about it, but I was completely frozen. If I remembered correctly, that suit was one of a kind. It was the one I wore at my wedding in Singapore. I couldn't be wrong. If there were no cheap copies out there, and my original designs hadn't been leaked, then that suit had to be one of the ones I wore for my wedding. And after the wedding, I had brought all those suits back to New York and put them in my special display case. How could someone else be wearing it? A flood of terrible thoughts rushed into my mind. I felt like I was starting to lose my grip. The party was spread across several rooms, and Teresa wasn't in this one. If she were, I could have just asked her directly, or at least tried to see the truth in her face. But now, when I needed her most, she wasn't by my side, I took a sip of red wine, and my phone suddenly vibrated. I quickly looked at the message. "Do you believe love can last forever?" Someone had texted me. It was a completely random question. I waited for another message. A few seconds later, another one came through. "If you saw what I look like, you'd understand why your wife is cheating on you." Attached was a photo, a pale wrist with an incredibly expensive watch on it. In an instant, I understood everything. That watch Mr. Davidson and the others had been talking about. Teresa hadn't forgotten about it. She had given it to someone else. I looked closely at the watch in the picture. Mr. Davidson was right. It was from the same master as Marie Antoinette's famous watch, with a top-quality mechanism. "Oh my God, Owen!" Marcus shouted my name. "Look, that guy just changed into another suit. And the watch he's wearing, it looks exactly like the one Teresa bought at the auction." I followed Marcus's gaze and froze. The watch on the man's wrist was identical to the one in the photo. I think I knew who sent the text. I suddenly found it hard to breathe. As I looked around, my eyes met the young man's. After the party ended, I walked toward a path lined with trees nearby. Sure enough, the man followed me. He was wearing shiny leather shoes, and today's suit made him look even taller. I stood there silently, waiting for him to talk. He, on the other hand, seemed totally confident, holding his head high. "My name is Ethan. I'm a model. I just turned 22. With that, he pulled out his phone, unlocked it, and held it out to me. The screen showed a sweet young boy. "This is Ryan, my son. Teresa absolutely loves him. She needs an heir. You know what that means. She's going to leave you and make things official with me." I looked at Ethan. He was so young, and so clueless. So clueless it was almost funny. I didn't know what Teresa had told him, but I knew she would never let him into the family. Not for at least another 10 years anyway. If I didn't start a divorce, Teresa would never leave me because in this world, I understood her better than anyone. The thing she cared about most was money, and the most important thing to her was making more of it. She would never divorce me and let me take half of her fortune. I looked at the man in front of me. "I'll be waiting for you and Teresa to make it official. If that day ever comes, I'll be sure to attend the wedding and give you a huge gift." Ethan ignored my words and looked away. "Who cares about your money? Once I'm with Teresa, all her money will be mine." I couldn't help but let out a short, sharp laugh. How could anyone on earth be that stupid? It was unbelievable. When I got home, the whole house was completely dark. I tried flipping the light switch, but nothing happened. I wasn't in a good mood after the party. Dealing with this on top of everything else made me feel like I was starting to break. Suddenly, a single candle flickered to life on the dining room table. Then, smooth jazz music began to play. One by one, candles on the living room floor lit up. Finally, I could see they formed the shape of a heart. Teresa slowly walked down the stairs, holding a bunch of flowers. In her other hand was a fancy square velvet box. "Owen," Teresa said, a smile in her eyes. She opened the box and took out a watch. She looked at me, her expression soft. "I was so busy the last few days, I forgot to give this to you right away. I'm sorry, darling." Teresa carefully put the watch on my wrist. "It's our wedding anniversary today. Do you like it, sweetheart?" I looked down at the watch. It was truly beautiful. It even seemed a bit nicer than the one the man at the party was wearing. But I knew this one was a fake. Everyone had told me that Teresa bought one, and only one, watch at the auction. And the one she bought was already on that man's wrist. So the one on my wrist right now had to be a fake. I looked down and met Teresa's gaze as she looked up. "I don't like it." What? Teresa looked shocked for a second. Honey, did I hear you correctly? What's wrong? You don't seem like yourself. Are you sick? She reached out to touch my forehead. Do you have a fever? I turned my head, moving away from her touch. I unclasped the watch. Teresa, I don't like fake things, fake feelings, fake watches. I didn't want any of it. What are you talking about? Teresa forced a smile. Owen, we've been together for so many years. Why would I ever give you something fake? I took out my phone, opened my texts, and found the picture the man had sent me. If the one you gave me is real, then where did this one come from? A flash of panic crossed Teresa's face. Where did you get that photo? It does look a little like the one I gave you. Her words made me laugh. Teresa, can you be a little better at this? Stop lying. You know you get nervous every time you lie. Hearing this, Teresa completely dropped the smile. She looked at me calmly. Owen, where did that picture come from? Tell me, and I'll deal with it. Her words made me want to laugh even more. Can you stop pretending, Teresa? Don't you know exactly where this picture came from? Whoever you gave the watch to is the one who sent it to me. Teresa fell silent. Her forehead wrinkled as she placed her hands on my shoulders. Owen, I swear to you, the one I gave you isn't fake. You're the one who's been with me through everything. How could I possibly give you a fake? I tossed the watch back to her. You're right. If I hadn't seen this picture, I would have never believed you'd give me something fake. And if that man hadn't shown up in front of me, I would have never believed that you, Teresa, would one day cheat on me. Enough! Teresa slammed the watch down on the table. I told you I'll handle it. Now stop making a scene. Then her voice became softer. Owen, you have to understand, you're not like those people outside. Even if I have other men, they could never threaten your position. I just want a child. I love children. Don't you get that? Before Teresa could finish, I slapped her across the face. You love children? You think I don't? Teresa's lips moved, but she didn't say anything. My mind flashed back to that day, 4 years ago. I was in the U.S. for medical treatment. Our daughter, Lily, was only 5. I couldn't bear to put her through a long trip, so I didn't take her with me. Teresa promised me again and again that she would take good care of her, so I finally got on the plane feeling at peace. One afternoon, I had a terrible feeling I couldn't shake, so I video called Teresa. I wanted to see my daughter. Teresa explained apologetically that she was swamped with work. The nanny had the day off, and her assistant was busy helping with reports. So our daughter hadn't been picked up from kindergarten yet. I was frantic and told her to go get Lily from school immediately. Teresa agreed. But for the next hour, I heard nothing back. I called her repeatedly, but the calls wouldn't go through. 2 hours later, the phone finally connected. Teresa's voice was shaky when she spoke. Owen, I'm so sorry. Something happened to Lily. She's gone. Teresa's words hit me like a shockwave. I couldn't even stand. I had to grab the table to keep from collapsing. What did you say, Teresa? Don't joke with me. Let me see Lily. My daughter. My precious, treasured daughter. But Teresa was telling me the truth. My daughter had passed away just a few days after I left the country. I couldn't accept it. No one on earth could accept it. I was in the hospital, scheduled for surgery the next day, but my own health was the last thing on my mind. I flew back home that night. The next time I saw Lily, she was lying there perfectly still. She was completely changed. From a few friends who came to comfort me, I learned the full story. Teresa had a business rival, a former partner who had become an enemy after an argument over profits. That partner left for another company and took some of our company's secrets with him. Teresa planned to take legal action to protect her rights. But she had no idea the man was a desperate criminal. He started watching the kindergarten day after day, planning to use our child's life to threaten Teresa into dropping the lawsuit. That day, since I was abroad and couldn't pick up my daughter, and the nanny happened to be off, Teresa was too busy with work. No one went to get Lily, which gave the man his chance. Back when he and Teresa were close, he had occasionally picked Lily up along with his own son. So Lily knew him, and so did the kindergarten teachers. Just like that, the man took my daughter away, along with his own son. He never actually intended to hurt Lily. His goal was to scare Teresa, to use Lily's life as leverage to make her drop the lawsuit and all charges. But that day, a truck lost control, ran a red light, and slammed into the man's car. The car flipped, completely crushed. All 3 people inside were killed. My daughter, the little girl I had cherished for 5 years, died in that car. And the man responsible for her death died in the same crash. Teresa and I had no one left to blame. That day, I knelt there, my voice choked with sadness, my fists clenched. I couldn't imagine how terrified my sweet little Lily, who was so afraid of pain, must have been in that moment. For 2 days straight, I didn't eat or drink anything. After we said our final goodbyes to Lily, I sat in her room staring at her old dolls, biting my lip so hard that it bled. I was filled with hate. I hated that such a freak accident had to happen to my daughter. I hated that I couldn't have been there to take the pain for her. Teresa knelt on the floor, telling me she was sorry over and over. She slapped herself repeatedly, her eyes red, tears silently streaming down her face. "Don't do this, Owen. Don't hurt yourself. I'm begging you. It's my fault, all my fault. It was me. Please, don't punish yourself, okay? You did nothing wrong. It was me. If I hadn't gone after him, if I had just picked Lily up on time, this never would have happened. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Why did he have to use my daughter to threaten me? I was the one suing him. He should have come after me. He could have stabbed me, and I wouldn't have said a word. Why did he have to use Lily?" For me, that period was like the world ending. I quickly became ill. I had originally gone to the US to have a small tumor removed. Because I had rushed back home, the surgery was never done. After what happened to Lily, I was so devastated that I didn't even want the surgery anymore. Many friends came to visit, but no one could convince me. Finally, Teresa knelt at the door of my hospital room. She said she had already lost Lily, and couldn't lose me too, that I was her whole life. If I refused treatment and let myself waste away, the day I was gone, she would follow me. In the end, I agreed to the surgery. It was an 8-hour operation. Teresa sat outside, not eating or drinking a thing, anxiously waiting for 8 hours. After the anesthesia wore off, she gripped my hand tightly, thanking God for giving me back to her. In the crushing days after losing our daughter, Teresa and I supported each other, slowly pulling one another out of the despair. Our friends, seeing us come out of the darkness, would all comment on how strong we were as a couple. Marcus once looked at me with such envy. Back then, I also believed Teresa was the most perfect wife in the world. I thought that in our broken life, we would walk together until the very end. But I never imagined this is how our story would end. "Let's get a divorce," I said, looking at Teresa. Teresa let out a sudden, cold laugh. "Owen, are you serious? Why would you bring up divorce out of nowhere?" Her brow furrowed. "I already told you the watch I gave you is real. Why don't you believe me?" "There's nothing left for us to talk about." I grabbed my bag from the sofa. "Get a lawyer soon. I'll have mine contact you." I practically stumbled out of the house. I had never thought that Teresa and I would end up like this. We had supported each other through so much, gained so much, and lost so much. How could an ending like this be worthy of the hard road we traveled together? I took a taxi to the apartment I owned near my office. Just as I walked in the door, I got a call from Marcus. I answered. "Owen? What do I do? Sarah wants a divorce." I thought I could just let it go, the cheating, the other guys, all of it. I was just going to focus on protecting my daughter's inheritance and get through this life. But now, hearing this only made my own situation worse. Marcus and I were like brothers. We hadn't known each other for very long, but in the world of the wealthy, he was my closest friend. He was kind-hearted and understanding, though sometimes a bit too sensitive. But I didn't see that as a bad thing. I've always believed that sensitivity is a gift from a higher power. Back when I lost Lily, if it weren't for Marcus visiting me in the hospital, comforting and guiding me, I never would have emerged from that darkness so quickly. "Owen," he said, "my daughter is still at summer camp in London. When she comes back, what am I supposed to tell her? She left with a whole family, and when she comes back, there will be nothing left." I temporarily put aside my issues with Teresa and started helping Marcus figure things out. I had met his daughter, Chloe. She was 7, well-behaved, and incredibly sweet. "Should you have a family member? Or someone you trust pick her up from London first?" I suggested after a moment. "Has Sarah mentioned the terms of the divorce? Will she fight you for custody?" "No," Marcus said, his voice steadying. "She said she'll let me have our daughter." "That's good," I said, feeling relieved. Marcus was an excellent father. He had raised his daughter himself, never relying on others. I knew how much he adored her, and that in a divorce, he would fight with everything he had to get custody. Now that Sarah wasn't interested in custody of Chloe, Marcus had one less thing to worry about. "Then the next step is to negotiate the settlement and division of marital assets. You should hire a legal team," I continued. Okay, Marcus agreed easily. "Owen, you're well educated and have seen the world. I'll listen to you. Thanks for telling me what to do." "Don't mention it," I said softly. Actually, I paused for a moment, then decided to tell the truth. I'm about to get divorced too. "What?" Marcus was completely shocked. "What happened, Owen?" "Teresa cheated," I said, taking a deep breath. "Remember that guy at the party you pointed out to me? He's the lover Teresa has been keeping." How could that be?" Marcus's voice grew quiet. "Are you sure there isn't some misunderstanding?" "No," I said, shaking my head. Then I realized he couldn't see me shaking my head over the phone. I quickly stopped the foolish gesture. "Remember the watch that guy was wearing? That's the one Teresa bought at the auction." "No way," Marcus said doubtfully. "Owen, are you sure you're not mistaken? The watch he was wearing looked similar to the one Teresa bought, but it definitely wasn't the same one. They just looked alike, but the quality was worlds apart. The one Teresa bought at the auction was obviously 100 times more valuable than the one that guy was wearing." "What?" I froze. Are you sure you saw that right?" "I'm positive," Marcus replied firmly. Now my mind was in even more of a whirl. "Do you think you might have misunderstood Teresa?" Marcus asked cautiously. "No, definitely not," I replied after a moment of thought. I had a strong feeling that even if that watch was a fake, it didn't mean Teresa hadn't betrayed me. It was very likely that there was much more to this story. I quickly contacted a private investigator I knew. After I explained the general situation, he replied quickly. "You're saying she demanded to know who sent you the text?" "Yes." The PI called me. "If she admitted to cheating, that means she doesn't care if you know. But she demanded to know who sent the text. She probably wasn't pretending to be dumb. It was more like what?" With the PI's prompting, a theory began to form. "Are you saying she didn't know which one of her lovers sent me the text?" "Which means," I quickly put it together, "she has more than one lover." "Exactly," the PI confirmed my thoughts. That's what I was thinking too. Based on the current evidence, that seems to be the case. 3 days later, the PI sent me the file. We were right. Teresa really did have more than one lover. One up north, one down south. She really knew how to enjoy life. With this information, I had more power to fight for the money and assets I deserved. Teresa and I agreed to meet. When I brought up divorce again, she shot up from the sofa. I just don't get it, Owen. What's the point of pushing for a divorce? Why can't we just be a power couple and make money together in this city? Are you trying to make me regret this? Trying to back me into a corner? If so, I suggest you give up. I'm not afraid of being threatened. I had no interest in hearing her nonsense. I placed a copy of the divorce agreement on the table. I don't want to spend any more time with someone like you, so let's make this quick. We both have a lot of assets from before the marriage, which were all legally documented. So marriage or divorce, it doesn't affect our control over our own wealth. However, I want 70% of your money as compensation. Agree or disagree? Think it over. You've got to be kidding me. Teresa swept the tea set off the table. Owen Grant, you've got some nerve. Do you have any idea how much money that is? Your money is still your money, nothing to do with me, but I have to give you that much of mine? Do you take me for a fool? It's compensation. You can refuse, but I will hire the best lawyers and take you to court. Even if it becomes a public scandal and everyone is talking about us, I will fight you to the bitter end. Teresa was silent. Finally, I lost my patience and threw a portion of the PI's file in front of her. What else do you have to say, Teresa? You're not ashamed, but I am. One is a minor social media person, the other is a new model. Should I say you're lucky in love, or that you're playing with fire? I lowered my voice. Neither of them are total unknowns. Once this gets out, are you sure it won't cause a massive storm online? And in the business world, will people joke about your scandalous affairs? Or will they whisper behind your back about how dirty you play? Teresa's company was in creative arts and educational technology. She knew better than anyone in the world how important her reputation was. Either give me the money and let me walk away from the marriage willingly, or drag this out until we're both destroyed, and I post everything online. I don't think it was a difficult choice. I looked at Teresa and said word by word, I'm not the one at fault here, so no matter how messy this gets, I won't be the one who's ashamed. Teresa, you've always believed that when you do something wrong, you should pay the price. Why is it different now that it's your turn? Why do we have to go down the path of divorce? I just wanted a child. Is that such a terrible crime? Don't try to ignore what you did. I don't stand for betrayal. Teresa, from the moment you did this, you should have known what we were facing. Before Teresa could leave, someone else showed up. It was Ethan, the tall man I had seen at the party. It was clear he was the favorite of her two lovers, which made him extra arrogant. The PI had given me his file. He had been in the industry for a year and had known Teresa for 6 months. He was certainly efficient. Though he was a model, Ethan's looks weren't exactly amazing. Ethan stood before Teresa, striking a pose that was somehow both obedient and flattering. The two of them were all over each other right in front of me, as if putting on a show for my benefit. Ethan seemed very caring, standing behind Teresa, asking her questions and fussing over her constantly. The suit he wore at the party had been so well tailored that I hadn't noticed anything unusual about him. Owen, Ethan said, and I had no idea what he was thinking. I know you must hate me, but I truly love Teresa. I'm not saying this to break you two up. I hope you and her can reconcile. Teresa was visibly touched by his words. Ethan, you've been through so much. Seeing this pair act this way made my blood boil. But right now, I didn't have time to be angry. I needed to focus all my energy on getting as much as I possibly could for myself. Money and reputation were the two things Teresa cared about most. I was determined to take them both. Teresa angrily helped Ethan to his feet. It doesn't matter if you kneel here. Even if you died for him today, he wouldn't forgive you. A cold man like him doesn't deserve you begging him like this." Teresa looked at Ethan as if he were a priceless treasure. That look used to be reserved for me. Now she could give it to whoever she wanted. I didn't care anymore. After Teresa and Ethan left, I glanced up at the cameras around the room. They were all connected to my phone, and for the last 20 minutes, they had been live streaming. I could have easily hired bodyguards to keep Teresa and Ethan out, but I didn't. Not because I couldn't, but because I needed to gather more evidence. Ethan wanted to make my life miserable, so I was going to ruin his. As for Teresa, she deserved far worse. I wasn't going to let her just walk away quietly. She couldn't stay faithful, but she couldn't part with her money. So I would make her lose face completely. I don't let anyone hurt me. Anyone who betrays me deserves a bad ending. As the story blew up, Teresa and Ethan became increasingly famous. They became well-known public figures, with people filming them on their phones wherever they went. A few days later, I saw a news story about Teresa losing her temper and smashing several bystanders' phones. That really made her go viral. She was all over the news. I own several media companies, so I know the power of public opinion. That night, I acted quickly, having my team release more information and continuously guiding the story to ensure Teresa took as much criticism as possible. This was all what she deserved. I showed no mercy. If she wanted a child, she could have found a time to talk to me about it, to explain things clearly. I would have helped her. I would have divorced her and let her go gracefully to pursue what she wanted. I would never cling to anyone. But she chose the most extreme path. She didn't just cheat. She let her lover parade in front of me, taunt me, and humiliate me. Since Teresa wouldn't let me live in peace, then nobody was going to. The story of Teresa cheating with Ethan and trying to use a child to secure her position raged online for months. Every day, I could find new scandalous information about her online. A large part of it was leaked by people I hired. I had saved copies of Teresa's company's financial records and various documents from before. Slowly, I began to realize there was much more to Teresa than I had ever seen. She was even capable of tax evasion and cooking the books. Those two things alone were enough to ruin her completely. After a heavy rainstorm, I received a text from Ethan. He told me Teresa had decided to bring his son, Ryan, home to live with them. His words were full of arrogance and mockery for me. "I gave the family an heir, a son. How can you compare to me? Don't think your decade-plus relationship with Teresa means anything next to me. We're soulmates." He even sent me a photo of himself with the boy, Ryan. I hadn't blocked him precisely for this reason, waiting for him to do something stupid. And sure enough, he was an absolute idiot. I was just running out of new material, and he delivered it right to my doorstep. Instead of trying to distance himself and let the scandal die down, he chose this critical moment to confirm everything and show off pictures of the child. Not even God could save him now. For the past few months, Teresa and Ethan had been living together, and now they had a child in the house. It was getting dangerously close. To bigamy. I would make them pay. As Teresa became more infamous, my name was mentioned more and more within our social circle. Many believed in keeping the peace to protect business, and they looked down on what I was doing. Some trust fund kids thought I was an idiot for not just enjoying the comfortable life my wife had built, and instead making a scene that embarrassed us both. Whenever I heard such comments, I just scoffed. I didn't care about their negative opinions. My comfortable life was something I was born into. My mother's comfortable life was also something she was born into. And the person who gave us all of this was my maternal grandfather. Even without Teresa, my life would have been fine. She, on the other hand, would have never risen so quickly in the business world without my support and help. If she couldn't recognize her place, I didn't mind reminding her. To make sure more people understood our marriage situation, and to keep the cheating wife on blast, Marcus and I both started accounts on all the major social platforms, sharing our lives and the state of our marriages. In no time, we gained a whole community of online divorce buddies. Public opinion is incredibly powerful. When necessary, my social media could be my mouthpiece, a tool to leverage my position. This series of actions made Marcus and me the two unusual people of the elite circle. As the new year approached, New York City was preparing for its annual joint business gala. Marcus and I received our invitations early. To keep our social media accounts trending, Marcus and I had to make public appearances, so we never missed an industry event. This joint gala was one we definitely had to attend. The day arrived. I had some things to take care of and couldn't get there early, so I had Marcus go ahead. I didn't arrive until the event was well underway. As I was about to find a seat, I overheard a group nearby discussing Marcus and me. I really don't get what they think they're accomplishing by airing their wives' dirty laundry online. It's just embarrassing, totally useless. They had such good lives, and they threw it all away to become content creators. Aren't they afraid of being laughed at? Owen Grant is so arrogant. He's an Ivy League grad, you know. He looks down on all of us. A while ago, hearing comments like that might have made me go over and argue. Now, I was completely unaffected. What others said was their problem, not mine. I wouldn't let their words affect my mood. Ultimately, the reason they thought that way was because they were powerless. If they had the ability to fight back against anything, they wouldn't be standing here, being both pathetic and pitiful, making snide remarks about others. Marcus walked by with a glass of champagne, not noticing me. Before he could get far, someone pulled him over to their group. The person started with a condescending remark. Marcus, it's one thing for Owen to be arrogant, but why are you going along with his nonsense? Your education is average, your family background is nothing special, you don't have much money, and your acting career ended a long time ago. Do you really think you can maintain this lifestyle without your wife? If you ask me, your situations are different. You shouldn't be following Owen's lead. He went way too far recently, picking a huge fight with Teresa. They hate each other now. But you're different, Marcus. You and Sarah haven't reached that point yet. You still have time to go and beg her for forgiveness. Yeah, someone else chimed in. Marcus, I'm telling you, Owen just wants someone to drag down with him. That's why he's encouraging you to get divorced. Don't hang around him, or people will start laughing at you too. I watched Marcus from a distance. He was soft-hearted and easily trusted others, and he used to get tricked a lot. I wondered if he would believe them today and start to resent me. To be honest, in that moment I couldn't guarantee that he trusted me completely. A few more people gathered around, some to watch the show, others to persuade Marcus. Someone tried to take Marcus's arm, but he pushed them away. Owen is my closest friend. When you talk about him like that, it's no different from talking about me. I stood frozen for a moment. Then my brow relaxed into a smile. The friend I genuinely wanted to help trusted me unconditionally and defended me. That felt good. Everything I had done was worth it. Just as Marcus was about to walk away, I called his name. Across the 5 or 6 people and a row of drinks between us, Marcus froze. In that instant, he turned, and our eyes met. Owen! In front of everyone, he excitedly rushed over to me, standing by my side in solidarity. I walked toward him, too. That night, a post about Teresa appeared out of nowhere. 1 watch, 3 loves. Passion or plot? From the moment it was published, the post shot to the top of the trending topics. Although I didn't name names, based on the information I had already revealed, the internet quickly figured out who the main characters were. The title was just for clicks. In reality, Teresa hadn't prepared just one watch. She had prepared 3. One was the authentic one from the auction. The other 2 were custom-made fakes. The watch Teresa gave me was indeed real. She wasn't lying at the time. As for why she had 2 fakes made, it was, of course, to keep things fair. The day Teresa won the expensive watch at auction, both of her lovers saw the news on their phones and started demanding it. But that was the watch she had intended to give me for our anniversary. Desperate, Teresa had a designer make 2 replicas. But due to different materials and gem-cutting techniques, they only looked similar on the surface and lacked the true value. Every time I thought about it, I found Teresa's reasoning to be weird. She was just too ridiculous. I opened my phone and started scrolling through the online comments. Marcus sat beside me, his phone buzzing non-stop. He handed it to me with a helpless expression. The messages were from Sarah, who was currently in the middle of a messy divorce battle with him. She had initially offered to give up custody of their daughter and let Marcus keep 30% of the marital assets. But she changed her mind the very next day. Her lover wouldn't let her give her ex-husband that much money, so he convinced her to use their daughter as leverage. If Marcus wanted custody, he couldn't take a single penny. Left with no other choice, Marcus turned to the legal system to resolve the matter. Sarah was originally a wealthy socialite, and everyone in their circle catered to her. But after her father passed away, her family nearly went bankrupt. All the people who had once fawned over her vanished like smoke. During Sarah's most difficult time, it was Marcus who supported her with his own savings, helping her get back on her feet. Therefore, he was entitled to a share of the marital assets and company stock. Besides, he would be raising their daughter on his own. He couldn't walk away with nothing. The court battle had been draining, and Marcus had invested a lot of energy into it. I read through the texts carefully. "Where are you? Are you at Owen's place again? I just don't get it. What could you possibly learn from him? Are you at Owen's house or not? If you're not coming back, I'm coming to find you. And when I find you, I'll make you pay a painful price. Give me my daughter back. I haven't seen her in months. She's my only child, and I won't let you take her from me. If you don't video call me within the hour so I can see my daughter, I will kill you. I mean it." Marcus seemed relatively calm after reading the messages, at least calmer than I was. Seeing my worried expression, he even tried to comfort me. "It's fine. Don't worry about it. She says stuff like that all the time. They're all just empty threats." I sighed. "All right, but you still need to be careful." Marcus glanced at Chloe, who was asleep in the hospital bed. "Good thing I listened to you and brought Chloe back from London. Otherwise, if Sarah had gotten a hold of her, she would definitely be using that to threaten me." I tucked Chloe's blanket in and gently stroked her forehead. "Her fever's gone down, Marcus. Don't worry too much." Chloe had suddenly spiked a high fever in the evening. The nanny who usually cared for her had to go home for a family emergency, so Marcus and I rushed her to the hospital. Thankfully, it wasn't anything serious. She had finished her IV, her fever was gone, and her little face was no longer flushed. To prevent the fever from returning, Marcus and I decided not to get a hotel nearby and just stay in the small family room attached to the VIP suite for the night to check Chloe out in the morning. The bed wasn't big, but it was enough for 2 people to squeeze in. Late at night, I kept hearing a buzzing sound. I had just fallen asleep and could barely open my eyes. I didn't want to answer the phone. I swiped on to decline the call, planning to call back in the morning. Marcus's phone screen was lit up, too. I glanced over and saw that someone was calling him as well. He had been running around all day and was exhausted. He didn't even stir. Drowsiness washed over me, and I reached over to turn off Marcus's screen as well. The next morning, the sound of Marcus getting up woke me. I sat up, deciding to call back the number from last night. Suddenly, Marcus spoke. "Why do I have so many missed calls? Who is this? I don't recognize this number at all." Before calling back, I glanced at the number on Marcus's phone. I was about to tell him I had silenced it for him last night when the number itself shocked me. The missed calls on both our phones were from the same number. I dialed it back, feeling a sense of unease. When I heard what the person on the other end said, I felt like I had been hit over the head. I couldn't process it. "What did you say?" "Teresa, she..." The person repeated themselves, and I just stood there stunned. "What's wrong, Owen?" Marcus looked at me concerned. I gripped his hand tightly, a storm of complex emotions surging through me. I could barely form words. "What is it?" he asked again. I took a moment to compose myself. "Teresa's dead." "What?" Marcus's brow furrowed. "How? How did it happen so suddenly?" "Last night, Sarah went to my villa with a knife and started attacking whoever was there. She stabbed Teresa twice. Teresa was pouring gasoline all over the villa, planning to burn it down, but then," I continued, a wave of cold sweat washing over me. "It just so happened that Chloe's nanny had a family emergency, and we were both at the hospital with Chloe. We escaped it. Now Sarah has been arrested for intentional homicide. The calls last night must have been to inform you." Marcus was silent for a long time. He squeezed my hand, his grip getting tighter and tighter. We looked at each other, and in each other's eyes, we saw the same lingering fear. It was all so close. It was Chloe's sudden fever that saved us. Only in that moment did I truly believe it. Some things really are just meant to be, and for Marcus and me, it just wasn't our time to go. 2 silent battles of divorce. Marcus and I had won. Marcus called the number back as well. After hearing the confirmed news, he hugged me, his voice shaky. "It's finally over. I don't have to live in fear anymore, worrying that Sarah will take Chloe from me." Before his marriage, Marcus had been a handsome, famous actor with a bright future. Sarah was a well-known socialite. After her family's fortunes fell, Marcus stood by her, using his savings to pay off her family's debts and helping her rebuild. Just as they were finally getting back on their feet after all the hardship, the family's old mansion caught fire. Marcus pulled Sarah from the flames, but he burned his arm and face, leaving ugly scars. After being mocked for his disfigurement, Marcus fell into a deep depression and eventually left the entertainment industry. Although surgery later completely removed the scars from his face, it took Marcus a long time to emerge from that shadow. It was Sarah who had once publicly declared she would stand by her husband for life. But later, it was also her who said the scars on his face disgusted her just to think about. How could anyone get over that? I couldn't. My heart ached for Marcus. He always showed his best side to others and kept his negative emotions to himself. He treated the world with kindness, but was never treated kindly in return. I felt it was so unfair to him. "Let's go, Owen," Marcus said, taking my hand. "Let's go get our audition numbers, okay?" Although we had both received a significant amount of money and gotten what we wanted, the future was long, and we both decided to focus on developing our careers. Compared to love, a career would never betray you. Seeing Marcus quietly practicing his lines as he walked, occasionally glancing at his phone, I clapped him on the shoulder. "Don't worry. If the director doesn't pick you, I'll start an entertainment company just to make you a star." "Deal," Marcus said with a smile, giving me a quick hug and handing me his phone. I'm going in. Wait for my good news. You got it. I watched him walk into the audition room and looked up at the morning sun. The past was gone. No need to dwell on it. The road ahead was long, and it was bound to be brilliant.